G'day ladies and gents, welcome back to DCS World with Mags and welcome aboard the MiG-29S. Today is a live comms flyout, at least for this first part. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to do live comms on the second part of this video yet, but we'll find out. It's all going to be in the editing, obviously. So, what's going on today? Well, today I'm going to go and take the MiG-29 here and I'm going to go and throw it around Las Vegas, as I have a couple of times with a couple of other aircraft before. However, this time there is a purpose. For those of you who have been following me on social media, you'll know that earlier on today, or yesterday by the time this video is up, the new parts for my PC arrived, and I've actually spent an entire day rebuilding the system, reinstalling all the drivers, so on and so forth. I'm now powered by Skylake. I have a Skylake i7 6700K, an MSI gaming motherboard. I've had to drop from 32 down to 16 gig of RAM because I had to obviously change up to the newer, more advanced RAM. Still running the GTX 980. Now, one of the areas where I did notice suffering some slowdown on the old computer was when I flew in a particularly fast jet, anything that was supersonic capable of going through the cities. I would notice frame rate drops. So that's what we're going to test today. I'm going to throw myself around the city. However, that wasn't quite enough. I really wanted to stress test this system and see exactly what it could pull off. So, just getting myself organized. So what we're going to be doing is, or what I've done rather, is turned all of the graphics options in the game that I can find up to maximum. I've got advanced shadows on, I have maximum view distance, every texture package I can find is on high, I have the render bars for trees and birds and everything else that I can find dialed right up to max, and we're going to fly out in the middle of a storm. The frame rate is being displayed on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, or at least... Jesus, getting a bit close here. The frame rate is being displayed on the lower left-hand side of the screen, or at least I hope it is. I won't know for sure until it's been recorded. I think I've set it up so the frame rate will pop up. And basically the magic number here for me is above 30 frames per second. If I can keep it above 30 FPS, that's where I render my videos at. Obviously I would love it above 60, but 30 is the magic number for recording. I'm sitting at about 72, jumping between 80 and 70 at the moment, so this is actually quite alright. Russian bitchin' Betty. Shut up. You'll have to pardon me if I don't talk too much. I'm kind of flying here. This is really smooth. God, I wish I could put videos up at 60 FPS so you could see this. Take it past the tower and we'll see whether or not we can get it up the main street. We just went supersonic there for a split second in that turn. 78 to 80 as we went through the city from the looks. Oh, God, I wish I could turn her off. And immediately over 100 when you hit the cloud. I hate descending out of clouds at high speeds like this. It's really hard to judge the ground. You gotta be really careful. Oh, get out of the cloud. That's right, just get back down there. Alright, so I might go and see whether or not we can actually get this thing under some bridges or something, just for the fun of it, and see whether or not we can pull this off. The plan is for the second part of this test, once I'm done here, and... Bloody clouds. There we go, that's what I'm after. Get the nose... Oh, of course, I'm in the middle of a storm. I got a massive crosswind here. I just can't bring myself to the right. That's what it'll be. Shit. Yeah, screw that. I'm not going under bridges with that. Alright, so what I might do is actually shut off the recording here and I'll come back. I might just take it back to Nellis and we'll go and see if we can find some combat. Alright, ladies and gents, and welcome back, and this time I am back on the post-commentary. I restarted the recording for the video, forgot to restart the recording for the audio, so that's just the way it is. So at this point, we're just coming in and setting ourselves up for landing. Now, when I came in for this landing, I pulled it in rather short. Initially, I thought it might have been too short, but as it turned out, it was actually quite alright. Now, one thing, at this point, I had actually forgotten about the crosswind already. So when I lined up for the runway, I lined up for a standard calm weather approach down the runway and didn't realise that there was actually a crosswind, or remember that there was a crosswind, until probably 100 meters from the end of the runway. So I had to do a little bit of adjustment at the last second to put this thing back on the ground. In the end, considering the circumstances, this was a pretty angry crosswind. I was actually rather impressed with the result. It was about here that I realised what was going on. Cut it across, turn back quickly, and then just drop it on the runway. And there we go. I would have kept the landing out of this one, except I was actually kind of proud of it for the circumstances, and people have been asking me to leave the landings in from now on, so that's what I'm going to do. So, we've got this bird back on the ground. Now we're going to flick over to a combat section that I've already recorded. It's going to be heavily edited down. There was a lot of screwing around to try and get guns on target. But here we go. So once again, back on the runway for departure. This time we're running at, well, it's still heavy cloud, but we're not in a full-blown storm this time. And this is a sunset flyout. We're actually close enough that we will see the transition through to dark as we go through the flight. Now my wingman's going to be flipping his shit the entire way through this replay, mainly because every time somebody grazes the plane with the radar, he goes into a panic we're going to get shot down. I've also had to turn the radar warning receiver off in the aircraft because in this particular fight, this is just a random battle that's been generated. God, I love flying out at this time of night in DCS. Anyways, the radar warning receiver would pretty much be going off constantly. And as you can see, your wingman's more than good enough reporting everything that's going on. I'm actually not going to talk too much through this one. It's actually incredibly late at night here, so I'm just going to let you enjoy the ride and give you little pieces here and there every time we change scenes.
Dodge 1, engaging bandit at Bulls 040-429 at 2,600. Spike, close block.
Now at this point, I actually got myself lost in the clouds. I tried to follow the radar lock of the MiG-29 that went past. Yes, this is a random battle, which means for some reason my MiG-29 is actually American and I'm fighting Russian MiG-29s. This is normally not something that you can actually do, but I think I'm wearing one of the red flag tags that lets me do it. So at this point anyway, the MiG-29 is in the clouds somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where it is, so at this point I'm just dropping out below the clouds and opening up a bit of a gap so I can turn back around and head back in to look for him. A quick glimpse of a shadow in the clouds, quickly hit the lock button on it, and sure enough, there's our missing MiG-29. And a clean kill, nice and easy. Unfortunately, this was the only kill I got in this particular flight. I spent the next, probably 10 minutes cruising around, looping through the clouds, hoping to find the remaining MiG-29. Unfortunately, well, as much as I was doing my best to try and find him, he found me first. I got very lucky there because I've turned the radar warning tone off. I had absolutely no idea he was behind me and locked on. I put the plane through a stall trying to avoid him there. Thankfully, plenty of space to pull the plane out of the dive, but at this point I've just been jumped by the MiG-29. I'm starting to get very low on fuel, so I figured it was time to take this one back to Nellis. And as it was, I got about a minute out of the combat area, and one of the F-16s took down the last MiG-29 anyway, So for this particular landing, there was still a slight crosswind, but nothing as severe as the last one, so I wasn't concerned about this one at all, especially since I remembered that the MiG-29 actually has a parachute for landings, a drogue chute as it is, so I remembered to actually bind the command for it this time and use it, so that makes for a pretty easy landing. It also looks fantastic. Anyways, ladies and gents, I'm going to bring this one to a close. Sorry if today's video sounds a little bit scattered. I didn't really have time to prepare anything because I'd been reassembling this computer all day. I really wanted to put a video up and, well, I wanted to show off the frame rates pretty much and have a bit of fun in DCS. Now I can actually crank everything up to 11. I've been incredibly impressed by the results. The fact that I can hold it over 30 with everything dialed out to maximum is fantastic, and I just can't wait to fly more DCS now. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.